Hey everyone, it's the Knitting Professor, here to ask myself why I sometimes doomscroll when I could just knit. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I was using that word doomscrolling the other day because there are times when I recognize that my characters don't only just live within the emotional family drama or romance or whatever, exciting adventures they're having. They have full-fledged lives, and for example, like I was thinking to myself today, somebody's on the phone, right? But they've got to be sitting somewhere or looking at something, or maybe someone else is in the room. And so I mentioned how the brother of one of my characters was sitting there doom scrolling with the TV show in the background. And, it's something that I think we're inclined to do. And there are a lot of reasons for that. And they're not necessarily good, but we still do it. So I thought it might not be a bad idea to just look at why knitting is the better alternative. One of my doom scrolling kind of moments is right when I get up. It's like, I've got to find out what's been going on. Surely something's been happening, Maybe it's just a kind of, I remember learning the word titillation when I was a freshman in college and I had this honors English class. Maybe that's all I'm looking for, One of my favorite fixes is Lawrence O'Donnell. So I really enjoy the way he words things because he uses my kind of vocabulary in a way that sort of matches the character Julia on Designing Women, or possibly in Dora on Bewitched, So it's like telling it like it is, but in terms that a lot of people could never understand. So I go online, I look for videos like that. But in any case, it'd probably be smarter if I just, did what the Cornish knitter does and carries, I've forgotten what it's called, but there's this kind of knitting support that you can carry on your body, and your project is sort of supported in there, and it's always there, and you can just grab it and knit on it, like, and you're on the way up your stairs, or, waiting for the dog to come inside or whatever. You can just knit a few stitches, instead of looking for more Lawrence O'Donnell. So, one of the things we can look at is that doom scrolling promotes what we might call information overload. And I think this is one of those times when information overload is sort of the point. It's like we're supposed to be overwhelmed instead of, having free space. It's like they're renting the room in our heads in order to co-opt it, to take it over, to dominate it. And if we, get this kind of information overload, there's really not anything that comes of it, right? Can we accomplish something? I mean, the whole point of stress is that you actually do something to fix the situation. But just by doom scrolling and looking up whatever the next video is about whatever the next titillating topic is, I'm not accomplishing anything. Right? And of course, the point with that line in my novel was that the character wasn't accomplishing anything either. Needed to be redirected into a more artistic endeavor, because crafting yields a tangible object. Even if it's just making the most mundane, like knitting on this sock, it's very mundane, very simple, very straightforward, but I'm actually making progress. Another thought that might be helpful in this context, Budapest, you got fur on me, is, the way that the algorithm kind of hijacks you. I have to really train it. And there are times when I'll go on and I'll be afraid to look up this or that topic because I'm like, do I want to get fed more of that? It's like, no. And sometimes you end up getting fed things that they might be related, but they just smack of clickbait. I saw one video the other day from a person who's respected, but the title was "What Just Happened." I'm like, what? I don't think I want to care. I'm just gonna pass over that. That's just you're just trying to fake me out, make me click on something because you couldn't think of a good title. And I don't really want to be, tethered to whatever manic kind of, stress inspiring thing you're putting out there. I like independent journalism stuff, but so I feel like some of the people out there they're just looking to scare me, to catch me off guard, or something like that. So if I'm doing this, I'm not being hijacked. I am planning. I am intentional. I have control over what I'm doing. and I have control over the amount of progress that I make and the product that comes of it. So it's not like the algorithm taking over my brain and just making me go here, over here, and over there. Nope, over there. Gotta look where I tell you. Look where I tell you. Nope. Here I can just look at my knitting and watch my cat, and listen to whatever music I want. And it's obviously a much more preferable situation to have. Another thing that doom scrolling promotes is just shallow focus, shallow thinking. It's just like what's on the surface that it's kind of like glitter, that's dark and bleak, like the trailer to a horror film or something like that. Whereas when you're crafting on something, and especially when you're thinking of a bigger project and where it can go, you have this kind of long form concentration going on. So it probes more deeply into the brain tissue, I think, as opposed to what's the next headline and thing that I should be worried about. I've got 20 skeins of sock yarn. Which one should I knit on next and for what purpose? And should I start thinking about giving them away? And, do I need a certain color because of orchestra or whatever? And it's just a lot more worthwhile type of thinking than, looking at the headlines and going like that. So anyhow, yeah, there's also the problem with the whole passivity thing. You're talking about taking control before, and being passive is just a way of being controlled, and it's just a way of losing sight of your own personal development. Kind of breeds helplessness. It breeds a feeling of disempowerment and frustration, and it kind of takes you out of the active engagement that can actually make good things happen. But when you make something, you're reasserting your capability. You're sort of putting it out there that you can do something that is worthwhile, and you can make a contribution. And you have power, you have agency, you have the means, the know-how, the tools and materials, and the ability to focus, etc., to make something good happen in the world. So you're not just helpless, you're not just a passive victim or object, you're a subject who is making something good happen in the world. Another thing that doom scrolling kind of feeds off of is anxiety. So it definitely feeds on anxiety, and it triggers. It's sort of it's kind of addictive, right? Scrolling triggers more scrolling, kind of like what I was saying before. Whereas when you pick up something like this, you're kind of interrupting that whole feedback loop, and you're just putting a stop to the whole thing. And again, reasserting your identity and not allowing those disruptive, anxiety-inducing kinds of words to get under your skin. And that can be really helpful. Just, taking something into your hands and engaging your sense of touch as opposed to, reading. I mean, reading is kind of a modern invention. It's almost a little bit dangerous. It used to be that people just told each other things, and now we're so bombarded with information. It's a modern phenomenon that we're not really completely evolved to deal with. Hey, kitty cat. Hey, you petting, you're purring and meowing. That's a good girl. Good girl. Yeah. Look at Budapest. She's my favorite cat. I just love this cat. Her and her daughter, she's so funny. She's just a quirky little cat. Come here. Come be in the camera. She's a lot different from Paris. Paris always wants to be on film, but Budapest is like, should I? I don't know. Maybe not. I gotta be in control of my own life. Then another thing that can kind of occur with the whole social media question is that you've got, in a way, something that feels like connection, and it's actually disconnection. So you're literally, and my daughter was complaining to me about this at one point. You're sitting there and you're scrolling on TikTok or something, and are you really connected to the people around you? You feel like you're connected to somebody, and maybe like to a very modest extent, but it's not the same as being with people. The other day, one of my knitting friends, who I don't see very often, probably 6 times a year, which isn't enough, and usually she'll initiate, well, would you like to get together and do some knitting? And she'll include several people in that. Now her sister lives with her, so that's one more person. I was like, man, I'm so busy. I don't have time for this. I'm writing, I'm editing, I'm trying to get my next book out, etc. I'm taking a class. But every time that happens, I'm like, I have got to spend time with those people. I've got to, because it is a genuine connection. Even if we don't have a whole lot to say, we live in the same community, and we're sitting there and we're doing the same creative thing, and nobody's really looking at their phone. It's just so refreshing. It's just, that's connection. That's connection. This illusion of being connected on, when you're doom scrolling is just that. It really is the opposite. But, you can kind of look at, like, the four of us today, it was just an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, but it was enough to feel like we were stitching together our own community. We were all knitting, talked about our knitting projects, talked about our children, talked about past places where we live, talked about dogs, didn't talk about cats. No, we didn't talk about cats, but we did talk about dogs. And that was connection, And then as a final thought, the whole idea about like time passing, you can get lost in the whole act of scrolling. Time can kind of get distorted and you have no idea what you just did. It's like, what did I just do? Like, what was I engaged in? Like, you didn't learn anything. You didn't connect it to anything. And it was just all like pure titillation of the most ethereal, pointless kind. Whereas with this, I can look and I can see, well, I got an inch done. If I do 8 more, I'll have the foot done or the shank done. Or, I'm getting close to the end of this one and then I can wear it. It's like you've got this product, you've got this trail of meaningful moments being created in time that gives you almost like a record of time well spent. And that's kind of a cool thing. So anyhow, that's kind of my topic for today. I thought it's appropriate for a lot of reasons. And I would love to know your experience with this phenomenon. I literally, I think my daughter's a great case in point, who's admitted that she, it's kind of addictive. I mean, what the people have going who've created some of those media, it's like cigarettes. They knew what they were doing. They know how to get you hooked. And every time I see YouTube playing with me and, putting something out there, like, some way foreign lettering version of Lawrence O'Donnell that, since I watched Lawrence O'Donnell, now I'm supposed to watch the two. It's like, no. And then I have to literally go in there and say, not interested. And I have to go and like clear my cache kind of and just tell them, no, I'm in charge here. I'll spend 20 minutes on Lawrence O'Donnell and maybe 10 minutes on, I don't know, CNN, whatever, Deutsche Welle. But after that, then it's whatever I want. Could be, Bewitched, Hallmark movie, I don't know, something that's worth watching, but main thing is something that's worth making. So we're coming up on the holidays here. I hope things are going well, that you're able to prepare to enjoy a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'll try to keep in touch. I'm really trying hard to get my next book out. I'm so close. I have one more beta reader. She is probably going to report in on Tuesday. And I'm working on the formatting. The cover art is really close. I really wanted to get book 2 out by Thanksgiving, but if it doesn't come out then, it's going to come out very soon after. And I'm really excited. I've gotten some pretty good reactions so far. It's a very good reaction so far. So, looking forward to seeing what you think when it does come out, and I'll probably share the cover art pretty soon because it's absolutely adorable. I shared it with my writing group friends and I shared it with my knitting group friends and they all loved it. So with that, I'll sign off and wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving week. Ciao. Bye.